Start our Rahim. This is our new semester. So in this course, we are going to learn about requirement engineering. So let's see. This is our UROX for the course. This is the modules. So in the first class, we will see our course plan. And this is first is our welcome to the course, our WhatsApp group link. So you can join from here. I think did I updated the link WhatsApp requirement engineering 95. Okay, you can connect to it. Okay, let me check if it is the perfect one or not. First, let me give you the WhatsApp group link. This is our
Maybe you can copy and paste inside the chat here
yes,
and
yes,
let me
yes.
join. All right.
Okay, I'm giving you the link. Just a minute. Sharing the link. Okay. Take the link I'm giving you. So you can join the WhatsApp. Okay. You can join the group. Also, let me check if it is okay or not. I'm just updating also here the link. So this is going to be your official WhatsApp group. So everyone please join the WhatsApp group first, because all our communication and all our task or anything related to any urgent message will be given to the WhatsApp group. Okay. So let's move to module now. Then course plan. What you are going to learn in this course. Basically, CLO, PLO are the program learning outcome and course learning outcome. So in this course, after completing this course, we will be able to describe practical experience, selected requirement engineering technique, management issues, cost estimation, software maintenance measurement. Then demonstrate the essential nature of requirement engineering. Identify a basic grounding for research in requirement engineering. So these are the outcomes that you will get after completing the course. So here in week 1, we are going to see a study plan. What is requirement? Here we will see this today. What is engineering? These 2 slides will cover up today. Then what is a system, planning and elicitation requirements, modeling and analyzing. We will complete this before our meet. After meet, we'll go to the communication and agreeing requirements, realizing evolving requirements, inconsistency and uncertainty in requirement engineering, and introduction to formal method in requirement engineering and research methodology for requirement engineering. This is going to be assignment presentation, and your marks will be, you will get 20% marks for participation in the class. Group assignment, there will be 10. Tutorial case studies, you will get 40, and in final exam, you will get 30. Okay, let me write it just a thing. On just a minute, I'm just writing it, because according to this, I will set up your assignment and everything. Okay. Then you can, if you wish, you can read the book of, there are some book references I've given. You can go through this book. And there is also in Udemy requirement engineering for first noobs. So you can learn it from Udemy, but I think you don't require it. So these are the things we are going to learn in this course, in the course plan. Then meet your lecturer. I think many of you know me, or will I have to tell? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
I am telling I am Ishaq Humayun. Currently, I am pursuing my PhD in digital forensics and AI in University Tenega Nacional, and I have completed my MBA from University Technology Sydney, and currently I'm working in Unirazak. Last time I was a full time, but this time I'm working as a part time because I am also going to take charge of another university very soon. And here is about me, my phone number. You can WhatsApp me anytime here. Then here is my address. I'm in Unirazak in 1 or 2 days in a week, so you can communicate me and come there. And from the WhatsApp you can consult me. So this is about me, and this is ice breaking session. You won't require it. So we are going to week 1 and 2. This section will help students to gain understanding on topic 1 and 2. Students are required to go through the teaching and learning materials. So these are just formal things I have to write here. So I have written here. So our first lecture we are going to start now. This is on requirement engineering, and in this course we are going to follow the slides of Dr. Honorable respected Dr. Professor Dr. Reza Soleimani sir, because sir was teaching this course for a long time, and I think his slides are just too much good, very best. So we are going to follow Reza Soleimani sir's slide in this course. So learning outcome this course. Describe practical experience in selected requirement engineering technique, management issues, cost estimation, and software maintenance measurement. C2 PL1. PLO1 demonstrate the essential nature of requirement engineering, identify basic grounding for research in requirement engineering. So what you're going to be learning outcome of this class, I will to explain what requirement engineering with some example, differentiate between requirement engineering and specification, and understand the terms of requirement engineering and components involved. So I'm asking you a question. Can you answer me? What is requirement engineering? Anyone? Anyone?
What people want in a system.
Yes. What is requirement engineering, do you think? Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, so let's move. So where are you? Okay. So do you know what is requirement engineering? Anyone?
To know the needs, people's needs for the system.
Okay. It's good, very good, Ashraf. Okay, just discuss with you an example. I myself, Ishaq Humayun, wants to develop a software, and Ashraf is going to develop it. Okay. Now I will go to Ashraf or Izzat, and I will tell them that Ashraf, this is the I want an e-commerce site where I can check in, check out. I want to add to cart, and also I will pay online payment. So these are the features I want for my e-commerce website. So the features that I want in my system, or the things that I want in my software or my website, is the requirement I have. Everyone understood? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us go through the site. First step to understand requirement engineering. Understand the terms used in the context. Requirements are actually what people want in a system, but what they may want may be not what they actually need. People must also need to know the constraints that exist along with their wishes. For example, I am telling Ashraf that Ashraf, I will give you 2000 ringgit for a website, but you have to implement it AI, and you have to also integrate the API of ChatGPT. Do you think is it possible with that budget, everyone? Is it possible?
No, 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 no.
So here budget is the constraint. Okay, clear? Everyone clear? Shall I move forward?
Yeah, clear, sir.
Engineering is some work that people do in a systematic way, follow some good practices, procedure, rules, and experiences. Okay, you don't need to think what is engineering big things. So if, for example, I am telling any one of you that build a website or a software for me. So for building a software, what you have to do? You have to collect the requirements from the client. Then you have to design the databases, and from there you have to code. And after coding, you have to test it. Then you have to deploy it on the server. So all these activities together is called engineering. Clear, everyone?
Clear, sir.
Then natural language requirement, model-based requirement. So in most of the cases, the documents that you have done it in the those who have done the software development project course with me, you know that we have to develop a document, and you have to write it in natural language so that a non-technical persons can also understand it. Then model based requirements, graphs, UML diagram. I think we don't have this in our course outline here, but I will teach you the UML diagram, the formula, and the pseudo codes you need. Then artifacts requirement, what are the things, the technology will requirement for this developing a software, or for this engineering system, that we'll also see. And communication. So in case of requirement engineering, if the communication between you and your client is not good, if you don't actually know the requirements of your client, then you can't go ahead. Clear, everyone?
Clear, sir.
Okay, sir. So um, it is the most important thing I need to tell you from my real life experience. I have been working in the software engineering industry for almost 8 years. So on the last, I'm giving a real life example. A guy named Mr. Shamsul Alam from United Kingdom. He came to me and told that make a CRM diagram for me. So what they have done, they have taken a white page and a black pen, and they have written the all the requirements on the pen and paper. After that, my developer will like that. But at the end of the day, they are telling that my requirement was not like that. I was expecting that my system will be on like the other system, and it is not the system that we are expecting. So after doing all this, what happened? Since he's in my communication, he is a non-technical guy, and I am a non-technical. I am a technical person. I didn't understand his requirement properly, or he can't express me the requirement properly due to communication gap, because I was in Bangladesh and he was in UK. So what happened? The we have built the system, but it is not used. Still, it is on the GitHub. So you must be communicate clearly with your clients. Okay, clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Then here is a. Let me zoom it a bit. Look, the customer initial vision. Can you see?
Can.
He wanted a sofa on the tree. Is it possible? Do you think is it possible?
Can.
How the next build in the next iteration looks. So when you started the work, so how it looks. Look, then it is turning, and at the end of the day, it is becoming a tire if the requirement is not clear. So you must be clear about your requirement with the client. I'm telling you again, you are very good developer, you are very good coder. That does not mean that you can do anything. But if you are not a good requirement engineer, and if you don't get the requirement from your clients clearly, you can't succeed in your projects. Clear?
Clear, sir.
It may range from high-level abstract statement of a service or of a system constant to a detailed mathematical function specification. This is inevitable as requirement may serve as a dual function. Maybe the basis for a bid for a contract therefore must be open to interpretation. Maybe the basis for contract itself therefore must be defined in detail. Both these statements may be called requirements. So It may change from a high-level abstract statement or a service or of a system constant to a detailed mathematical function specification. So sometimes your requirements can be changed from a it look like that they have written it in a pen or paper, but it can turn into a mathematical function sometime. Okay, it will look like that what are the things we'll do, what is happening, or what will we are going to deliver. So this thing may happen. But what is a requirement? You don't need to think this complex thing, just an easy thing. A thing that a customer wants his product will deliver him. That is required. Clear everyone?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Then user requirement. Statements in natural language plus diagrams of the services that provide them and its operational constraints written for customers. So user if you write in the user requirement, if you draw the technical diagrams or UML diagrams, do you think your client can understand those since they are non-tech guy? Can they?
No.
So what you have to do, you have to write it in natural language, the user requirement. Diagrams of the service, and if you draw the UML diagrams, you have to describe the and give the description of the diagram. And also you have to mention that the operational constant. For example, I have a budget of 2000 ringgit, and one of my client is telling me that you have to apply or integrate AI in that system. So with that budget, can you integrate that thing? Is it possible, actually feasible? So you must have to look at this. Then written for customer. Basically, user requirements are written for the customers. Okay. Understood?
Understood.
System requirement. A structured document setting out detailed description of the system function, services, and operational constraint. Defines what should be implemented, so maybe part of a contract between client and contractor. So I am telling you again, a ERP project, I have a budget of 6 lakhs taka. 6 lakhs, I think in Malaysia, it is almost 6 lakh is like 20,000 ringgit. Okay. So what happened? I took the contract, everything from the client, and I started working on the system. But at the end of the day, as the requirements of the client were not clear because they don't follow any document or anything, and at the end, what happened? The system just fall and declines, and it doesn't work properly. So you must be clear about the requirement. There are higher level than functional and non-functional requirement which may subsume. We'll know about we have in last course, I think I have talked to you about functional and non-functional requirement. Functional requirement, for example, I am creating a system Eurox type web-based software like web application for Unirazak. And for that system, what are my functional requirements? A student can log in, a student can log out, a student can see their results, a student can see their attendances, a student can take the notes and everything, and they can communicate with their lecturers. And what are the non-functional requirements? The non-functional requirements are where the system is going to be hosted, then if the system fail down, how much time it will need to recover, and if it is scalable or not, how much user can use at a time. So that are the non-functional requirement. So about the functional and non-functional requirement, are you clear, everyone?
Clear, sir.
Clear? Is it easy?
Yeah.
It actually the requirement engineering is very much easy subject. Okay, you don't need to be very much think about it. So I will in this course basically I will show you some diagrams, because if you want to be a system architect, um, you need to learn it. Basically, the biggest problem of the I will not tell it, everywhere in the world, not only in my country or anywhere. It's if the biggest problem is we are doing the course, but after doing this course, what job will I get? Do I know? We have to prepare yourself like that. Okay. So those are the things. Just a minute, chef. Just a minute. So these are the things we have to know. So basically, by doing the requirement course, if you You can't get the job of a solution architect or an enterprise architect. You don't need to do this course. Okay. Have you heard the name of TOGAF?
Yeah, yeah.
So if I can teach you TOGAF in this course, you can learn something from this course. Okay. Or else the things that you are going to learn in this course, we have completed it many times. Okay. That's the
Okay,
thing.
sir.
Then requirement versus specification in software engineering. Requirement a description of services that a software system must provide and the constraints under which it is must operate. So requirement are the descriptions what a software will do. For example, let's imagine I am a software. So what is your requirement from me as a teacher from this course? Sir will teach us properly. Sir will make us understand every concept. Sir will give us the good marks. Sir will be helpful to us. So these are your requirement for me. So similarly, for the softwares, the requirement or the expected work that a software will do is called requirement. And what is specification? Specification is a technical document that describes the features and behavior of a software application. So you have done documentation previously. So in specification, basically, what are the features the system will have and how the software will behave in different situations that will be discussed. So have you understand the first difference between requirement and specification, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Requirements help to describe what the software should do. So by requirement, you know what you are expected from the software to do. And from specification helps to get a clear understanding of the product to develop it and minimize software failure. Basically, specification is for us who are technical guys. From specification, we know what our software is going to do and what are the things we are going to develop and what are the software failures you are going to see and we arise them after building the system. Okay. So here are the components of requirement engineering. Basically, it has two big components. One is requirements development and one is requirement management. So under requirement development, there is elicitation, analysis, modeling and specification, verification, validation. And under requirement management, there is change control, version control, tracking and status tracking. So we'll go through this thing one by one. So what are the goals and requirements? Non-functional requirements may be very difficult to state precisely and imprecise requirement may be difficult to verify. Goal. A general intention of the user such as to ease of use. So basically you build an app. Let me discuss with you about one app. Don't take it I don't know if they heard the I will not tell the name of an app. There is an app we can transfer money with that. So in that app, the functionality and usability is so much difficult that many people cannot do work on them. Because you know that we people we can understand English or we can understand work with English, but for them you should keep a language button where they can change to their native language or they can work on it. If your client, if you're using an app, it is closing, shut down, you're opening it, it's closing, it is not working properly, it is slow, it is making your system slow. You can't be a good software engineer. So, for becoming a good software engineer, your first goal should be your system must be very much easy for the client. So that is the usability. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Then, verifiable non-functional requirement. A statement using some measures that can be objectively tested. Goals are helpful to developers as they convey the intention of the system user. Basically, as a developer, if you know what is your goal, you can reach it and you can deliver a very good product. But if you don't know what is your goal, so you can't do anything. In my life, I'm giving you a real life example. I have worked in many software companies, and I won't tell like that. I was working in a project in the different in my country or any other places, there are projects where lots of investment is done, but it is just for the show. They don't have any goal. The project gets continued and they get money from the government, and that is how they are running their companies. So one time I was doing that project. Till now that product was not like. So goal is very much important for the product. Clear, everyone? Clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. The system should be easy to use by medical staff and should be organized in such a way that user error are minimized. The thing that I'm telling you, usability requirement. So the system should be easy to use. For example, you have developed a system, an app that is not easy for the user to use. So is there any use of making it? And the error must be error free. But I, as a software engineer, I can tell it is not possible in the first version to give error free product, but it must be error free. Then medical staff shall be able to use the system functions for they're talking about a medical software. Medical staff shall be able to use all the system functions after 4 hours of training. After this training, the average number of error made by experienced users shall not exceed 2 per hour on system use. This is a non-functional requirement. So the medical staff will be able to use the system for the 4 hours of their training. So at that time, the error made by user or the error that is faced from the system cannot be 2 per hour, more than that, because if that does not follows, then it is not an ideal system or it doesn't meet the usability requirement. So clear this slide?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Now let's talk about the speed. What is speed? Process, transaction, second user, event response time, screen refresh time. So in the app you see sometimes you have to refresh the page. Okay, now you don't need, because we use many libraries. As a result, it is refreshed automatically. Size, megabytes, and number of ROM chips. Ease of use, training time, number of health frames. Then reliability, mean time to failure, probability to unavailability, rate of failure occurrence, and availability. So the reliability of a system is, I don't go to these difficult examples. I'm just telling you an easy thing. Number one is speed. You are using a website, you have just giving the URL and it is taking more than 10 seconds to come. Can you say that is an ideal website for you? Anyone? Do you know why now people use React.js and JavaScript frameworks in the front end? Because previously, when I started working in 2016, we don't use that much JavaScript frameworks on the website front end. So what happened? The page the page come because they're loading, they're bringing the data from the database and loading, and it is taking a lot of time. But actually in real world you can do that. Okay. The size, if your app has a big size, if you create an app and it is a big size and you just keep on the phone, all phone cannot use that. Okay, so if you build an app you have to think about the sizes also, ease of use, training time. So this must be easy for use, and the number of fails, then reliability, mean time to failure. So the reliability is the system is how much reliable or not. Okay, you are giving your password, touch and go access to a system, and if and the system is not secure, the security bugs are still available on the system. So you know what will happen, they will take your password, your CVC, and they will start hacking your whole system and your card. Okay. Then robustness, time to restart after failure, percentage of event causing failure, and probability of data corruption or failure. Then portability, percentage of target dependent statement and number of target system. So what is the portability of a system? It is the percentage of target dependent statements and number of target systems. So up to slide 7. Do you have any question, anyone? Everyone? Up to slide 7 is clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. I think you will find one thing. I don't know if it currently exists or not, but in USA, I was talking to a guy. So he was telling that, Ishrak, you have to develop a website for me. But my first requirement is I will just hit on the URL, the system will come. It will take a nanosecond to come. But he has a huge amount of data. So during 10 to 12 years back, we used to focus on the requirement, functional requirements. What are the use? What are the features the system will get? But now we are going through the system in the such way that we are now focusing on the non-functional requirements also. Clients are now becoming smart. So as a software engineer, you have to not only build the system, you have to think how is the system reliable, is there security bugs or not, if it's scalable or not, if it's everything is okay, if it's system everything, and device if it is device dependent or independent or not. These are the things we have to think. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Domain requirement. The system's operational domain imposes requirement on the system. For example, a train course system has to take into account the braking characteristics in different weather conditions. So, domain requirements can be new functional requirement, constraints on existing requirement, or define specific computation. If domain requirements are not satisfied, the system may be unworkable. So, um, domain I am telling you one thing, just remember it for the entire life. Don't take the domain example, the domain requirement from the client. If you take it, it is you have to be, for example, I have built a system, I have built a app, payment gateway integrated to it, user can check in, check out. But all of a sudden, before deploying it, my client is telling that I want this, I want that. So what happened? You get puzzled, and as a result, your it may create constraint on the product also. Because if new requirements are added after a time, it is sometimes creating problem for you. So clear, everyone? Domain requirement.
Clearly, sir.
It is one kind of trap of client. Okay, to delay your bills. Do you know this? Okay. So let's move forward. Then train protection system. This is a domain requirement for a train protection system. The declaration of the train shall be computed is the train degradient, where you don't need this because these are mathematical things. I won't pressurize you because in real life you don't need this thing a bit, little bit or not a bit. So you can just see these things, but this is not important for you. Okay. Basically, in this course, you will get questions very easy. Then understandability. Requirements are expressed in the language of the application domain. This is often not understood by software engineers developing the system. So while you will develop the system, you will find that some requirements are coming automatically in front of you. Okay. Then implicitness. Domain specialists understand the area so well that they do not think of making the domain requirement explicit. So in when I was working in access to information in Bangladesh, there were people who were domain expert. For example, what are the domain, the software? So for here in Malaysia, as for example, the government called me and tell me that Ishraq, you have worked on the e-governance system, so you have to build some e-governance system. So what I am expert in e-governance, and again another my friend who is working for the corporate for the e-commerce, so he's expert in that e-commerce domain. So that is sometimes you need the domain expert, so they can you can share their experience and how can they help you in building the system. Then the software requirements document. You all know it because the previous lectures you have seen it. The software requirement document is the official statement of what is required of the system developers. Can include both a definition of user requirements and a specification of the system requirement. So the SRS document or the SRD, it will have both the user requirement and also the system requirement. So it's user requirement, you know what the user wishes from the system, and the system requirement basically what the system is going to do and what the system is going to deliver. It is not a design document because it is written in natural language. As far as possible, it should be of what the system should do, rather how it should do. So in the requirement document, your entire document will show what the system is going to do, not how it should do. Clear, everyone?
Yeah, clear, clear.
Okay. Many agile methods. Okay. Let me discuss with you an example. Basically, this is not in this slide. You will see it later on, but let me discuss with you. Do you know what is agile, everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. While developing any software, we have to go through 5 steps. Okay, 5 steps. Which will you? Okay. First one is step one. Can you see my screen, everyone? Everyone, am I visible to you? My screen is visible to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Requirement engineering. So, what is requirement engineering? Do you know, everyone? What is requirement engineering? We have already discussed in the class what is requirement engineering. What the system is, what the client is expecting from the system. You are going to take that requirement. Then after collecting all the requirement and create an SRS or SRD document, then what you will go? Then we go for design. Do you know what is design? You have to draw the UML design. Have you heard the name of graphics designer? Anyone? Graphics designer, have you know the post?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So do you know what is the work of the graphics designer? Any idea? For example, Unirazak is telling me to build an UROC version 2. Okay. So in the meetings, when I have to be in front of the dean sir, or I have to be in front of the dean madam or professor madam or sir, what I have to show, I won't tell that this will do, this will do. They don't understand this because they are not with our system development or anything. They are just the top authority who are giving us the fund or sponsorship. So what you have to do by Canva or using Figma, you will design the UI or the apps you will make, and you will show it to our client. And beside this, we will also show them the, what can I say, um, there is also the database design or anything that is done in this system, but we don't need to present it on the client. ER diagrams, UML diagrams, you are not supposed to show this to our clients at this stage, but these are for our technical things. So in design there is two parts. One thing that is done with the UI UX, that is by the graphics team, and another is going to design the back end of the system, how the database will work, interact with each other, how the system will work, data flow diagrams. Clear, everyone? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the third step is, so requirement engineering design, then is going to be coding. So what framework you are going to do, what you are going to use, that is in the coding phase is done. So in the coding, for example, you are using React.js for your front end, and either you can use Spring Boot, Laravel, or anything. Express for your backend. So this is how the coding is done. Then after completing this coding, after the system is developed in iteration 1, then it is sent for testing.
Testing.
So in the testing phase, the system developed by the coder is checked by the tester if it is okay or not, if there is any bug or not. If there is any bug, they send it to the coding team. Okay. And in step 5, what happened?
Deploy.
Deployment is done. Clear? Everyone clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. So these are the 5 steps of software engineering. Now, when in the step 1, there is no change in the requirement, you can easily complete this. Easy or not? If the requirement is fixed, then you don't have to change anything, or there will be no delay. Clear? Everyone, have you understand this?
Yeah, please, sir.
But if when the requirement is fixed and there is no change in the requirement, then it is called the waterfall model. And when the requirement is changing, new requirements are coming. So what happened? With the first requirement, we have come to step 5. Again, when the new requirements come, we have to again go back to step 1 and again do this work again from the beginning. So when you can add new requirements and new features, that is the agile, and in waterfall you can't add it. So have you understand what is agile method is? Clear?
Yeah, clear, sir.
Okay. Then, so what they're writing about agile? Let's see. Many agile methods argue that producing a requirement document is a waste of time as the requirement changes so quickly. What I have tell you now, that many agile methods argue that requirement document is a waste of time. Okay, this document is therefore always out of date. So in agile methodology, the requirement changes so frequently that it is always out of date. Methods such as XP use incremental requirement engineering and express requirement as user stories. So, in when I will teach you the difference method of agile and waterfall, I will show you how the user stories changes so frequently. This is practical for business system, but problematic for system that require a lot pre-delivery analysis. Critical system or system development never. So basically, it is for the business system as you build a software for a bank, you have to add new features, new things will come. But in case of other cases, the system that has budget constraint, the agile method is very much costly and it's not possible to implement. So clear, everyone?
Please, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Users of a requirement document. System customers. Specify the requirements and read them to check that they meet their needs. Customer specify changes to the requirements. So system customers specify the requirements and read them to check that they meet their needs. Customers specify changes to the requirements. So system customers are customer specifically identify or check if it meets all his requirement or not, and what are the end product what he intended to develop or not. Okay, then managers use the requirement document to plan a bid for the system and to plan system development. So what manager does, he grab all the requirements from the client and then he create a document, then submit it to his system engineer. Use the requirements to understand what system in to be developed. So the coding phase, what he will develop and what the code he will do. System test engineer use the requirement to develop validation test for the system. So what test engineer does, he tests the system it is okay, if it is okay or not. Then system maintenance engineer use the requirement to understand the system and the relationship between its parts. So, for example, what is the relationship between back and front end, how the API is coming, and also how it is deployed, and how the deployment server and the database that is deployed and working. All the things is done by a system maintenance engineer. So, everyone clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay, so we can take a 10 minutes break. Then after 10 minutes, we'll complete the entire the remaining slide. Okay.
All right, sir.
Okay. So let's start. Everyone okay? With it? After the break, can we start now again?
Yeah, again, sir.
Okay, we are starting again. So let's see. So we have in our assignment one already. Though I didn't give the assignment yet. So in assignment one, you have to prepare a requirement document. So what are the chapters will have? So in chapter one, you will have the preface. This should define the expected readership of the document and describe its version history, including rationale for the creation of a new version and a summary of the changes made in each version. So, in the preface, if in my first version there are 5 requirements, it will be included. But if there is any change on your requirement, then you have to create the new version of it. Introduction, this should describe the need of for the system. It should briefly describe the system functions and explain how it will work with other systems. It should also describe how the system fits into overall business or strategic objective of the organization commissioning the software. In introduction part, you will say what the system will do and how it will contribute and what are the contribution it will be to and what are the things that will be discussed by the system. Then user requirement definition. Here you describe the services provided for the user. The non-functional system requirement should also be described in this section. This description may use natural language diagrams or the notation that are understandable to customers. So in the user requirement definition, you must have to use some use case story. In the next class, I will show you what is use case is, then how the system and what are the requirement the system is going to present to the customer and what are the outcome they can see from it. Okay, clear? User requirement definition clear?
Yes, sir.
Then system architectures. The chapter should present a high-level overview of the anticipated system architecture, showing the distribution of function across system modules. Architectural component that is used should be highlighted. So it will describe you the entire system and what are the architecture it will use, and also the how the system is interacting with each other and how the entire system is working. Okay. Then system requirement specification. This should describe the functional and non-functional requirement in more details. If necessary, further detail may also be added to the non-functional requirement interface to other system may be different. So in the system specific and specific system requirement specification, you can add the interfaces and the non-functional requirement that can be added. Then system models. This might include graphical system models showing that the relationship between the system component and the system's ended environment. Examples of possible models are object models, data flow model, and semantic data models. So what are the system model will show graphical use graphical model showing the relationship between the because the back end, the front end, and how for example you have to integrate the APIs and different APIs for Stripe, then Maybank. So how you integrate it and what are the how it will work, you can see this here. Then system evolution. This should describe the fundamentals assumption on which the system is based and any anticipated changes due to hardware evolution, changing user need, and so on. This section is useful for system designers and it may help the avoid design decision that would constrain like future changes to the system. So in the system evolution diagram, the system evolution, we should design the system in such a way that if that there is no lackings in their system. So sometimes due to changes, the diagram may change, so it can hurt the system. Appendices. This should provide detailed specific information that is related to the application being developed. For example, hardware and database description. Hardware requirement define the minimal and optimal configuration for the system. Database requirement define the logical organization of the data used by the system and the relationship between data. Then index. Several indexes to the document may be included as well as normal alphabetic index. There may be an index diagram and index of function and so on. So there may be also some index diagram. So requirement specification, the process of writing down the user and system requirement, the requirement document. User requirement have to be understandable by end user and customer who do not have a technical background. So requirement specification is the process of writing down the user and the system's requirement in the requirement document. Okay, clear?
Clear, sir.
Then user requirements have to be understandable by end user. So the requirement must be understandable by end user and customer who do not have any technical background. So in the documents, we have to write this in such a way that even non-technical person can also understand. System requirement are more detailed requirement and may include more technical information. So in system requirement, there might also include some detailed requirements that also include technical information. The requirement may be part of a contract for the system development. It is therefore important that these are as complete as possible. So, ways of writing the system requirement, here are some guideline is giving natural language. The requirements are written using a numbered sentence and natural language. Each sentence should replace one requirement. Basically, it is written in English, but for the component that I have worked previously, it was written in Malay. Okay, so I don't understand Malay language that well. So I'm just at that time I was just so I have to translate it and understand. A structured natural language. The requirements are written in natural language on a standard form template. Each field provides information about an aspect of the requirement. So in each point, you have to write in such a way that each contains the aspect of the requirement, what the requirement is actually going to do. If you do not do that, if you just randomly write the requirements like an essay or paragraph, no one will be able to understand it. Clear?
Clear.
Design description language. The approach uses a language like programming language, but with more abstract features to specify the requirement by defining an operational model of the system. This approach is now rarely used, although it can be used for interface specification. So, the design description language here, what happened? Operational model. This describes the operational, basically the operational model of the system. Okay, so this is you will draw a diagram, then you have to describe it. I will show you my final project of I have completed my graduation from software engineering. So in the final we have only one course for this documentation, so I will give you that sample. You can learn it clearly. Then graphical notation. Graphical models supplemented by text and notation are used to define the function requirement for the system. UML use case and the sequence diagram are the commonly used. So these are the diagram for graphical notation. So I will also show you those in the upcoming classes and mathematical specification. These notation are based on mathematical concepts such as finite state machine or states. Have you done the course theory of computation? Although the ambiguous specification can reduce the ambiguity of the required system, most customers don't understand a formal specification. They cannot check that it represents whether they want and reluctant to accept it in the system corner. So you have to use some mathematical specification, but not that much because if you use more, then it will be confusing for the client. I will suggest you not to use that. Okay. Then requirement and design. In principles, requirement will state what the system should do and the design should describe how it does this. In practice, a requirement and designs are inseparable. A system architecture may be designed to structure the requirement. The system may interoperate with other systems that generate design requirements. So, what a system architecture does? A system architecture represent you the what the system is going to do and how it will work. Okay, what is expected from your system. The design may interoperate with other systems that generate the design requirement. So sometime you can gather requirement from the other system too. For example, you are building a website like Daraz or Alibaba, and you want to integrate those requirements or those system requirement on your system. You can do it. The use of a specific architecture to satisfy non-functional requirement may be a domain requirement. So sometimes you have to use a specific architecture. So in about architecture, we will know a little bit after these 2-3 classes. So there are fixed for each domain there is an architecture. This may be consequences of a regularity requirement. Then natural language specification. Requirements are written as natural language sentences supplemented by diagram and tables used for writing requirement because it is expressive, intuitive, and universal. This means that the requirement can be understood by users and customers. Then guideline, here are some guideline. Create a standard format and use it for all the requirement. Use language in a consistent way. So the format I have given you, I will give you again in this course. Use language in a consistent way. You must, if you are using English in US style, you have to write it in that. You have to continue it so that if you try different things, then it will be different and difficult for the reader to understand. Using test highlight identify key parts. For example, you can identify the and bold the letter functional requirement, non-functional requirement. Avoid the use of computer jargons. Include an explanation rationale of why the requirement is necessary. So you can include a line where you can show why requirement is essential. In the last, you're going to programming with natural language. So lacks of clarity, precision is difficult without making the document difficult to read. Requirement confusion. The functional and non-functional requirement tend to be mixed up. There are few developers who are new, they sometimes mix the functional and non-functional requirement. So what happened to that? As a result of that, the system, it has a bad effect on the system and it hampers the development of the system. Requirement amalgamation, several different requirement may be expressed together. So by this requirement amalgamation, you can express several requirement at a time. So this is what from your first class lecture. Now, do you have any question, everyone? Any more question?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. Ashraf, then I have to call the attendance. Where is the other student? Only we three.
How many students are we supposed to have?
Seven.
Oh, okay.
Oh, let me take that. It becomes easy when you are working with the same student again and again. It becomes very much easy and comfortable. Okay, because I know what you understand, what you like. It's become very much good for me. But in this course, if we can't learn TOGAF, there's no use. Okay. One, two, three, four, five. Arun, Deepan is inactive. Divagar is in the class. Izzas is always in the class. Ashraf is always in the class. Shweta attended. Oh, Hinchala's my old student. All are my students previous semester from. So, any more question, everyone?
No, sir.
Okay, Ashraf. So we can end the class. On the next class will be in the Europe. When is our next class?